The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
This is Media Mash,
A roundtable of Cowboys insiders
dropping wisdom
and offering sizzling takes
on the current state of your Dallas Cowboys.
Now, your host,
Steve Dennis.
The name of the show is Media Mash, and it's back. We're back after a little respite for a lot of reasons, but we're happy to be back, and we're going to make sure everybody remembers everybody. Jane Slater, right here from the NFL Network. Nick Eatman from DallasCowboys.com and everything else Cowboys related. And from the Fort Worth Star-Telegram, there's Chill.
The bros.
Clarence E. Hill Jr. All right, guys, here's the deal. 3 games in 12 days, more injuries, a COVID outbreak, less continuity on the offensive line, no run game, less than MVP play from Dak, yellow flags flying everywhere, 2 losses, 1 sloppy win. It all happened so fast, it was a rocky stretch. But the smoke is cleared. Some time off, some rest for the Cowboys. Here they are. Here we are. So I thought we would spend the first Get Back Together segment here on Media Mash just taking inventory on exactly where they are here with 5 games left to go. Big picture. Let's do a big picture, okay? For a minute there, they were 7-2. The rebound win over Atlanta. The bandwagon was full. They had about a 45% chance to win the bye, if you listen to Vegas. Top team in the NFC. Dak is the MVP. 1-2 since. 4% chance now to get the bye. Dak virtually out of the MVP race. The bandwagon is empty. So let's explore. 5 games to go. Where do you think they are, Slater?
You know, I'm always Slater Sunshine. But I got to tell you, against that Saints team, inside the dome is tough, right? Because I cover the Saints as well. But they didn't have their 2 starting defensive ends. They didn't have their 2 starting tackles. They didn't have Alvin Kamara. And they were playing a quarterback in Taysom Hill who had not started this season and was playing on a foot that had plantar fasciitis. And they were managing his pain all week. So much so that even Sean Payton was concerned about his team. The fact that the Cowboys let this one, they left the door open heading into the half. Now, granted, they came back in the second half and turned it up, but that concerned me because they had a lot of the pieces of the puzzle. I mean, sure, they don't have Neville Gallimore. They didn't have Randy Gregory, and they obviously didn't have their head coach on the sidelines, but in terms of offense, they should have blown this one out a little bit. So I guess what I'm saying here is I'm looking at a Washington team that has held Tampa Bay Bucks to 273 yards in defense and picked them off twice. They beat the Panthers, beat Seattle, and then they went and beat Vegas. It just makes me concerned for this team. I don't want to say worried, concerned that you've got 2 divisional games in the month of December, and I'm not as confident as I was about them.
Clarence, did you hear that?
I know.
Did you hear that? Slater Jane is going to the dark side.
I don't know if it's a dark
It's
side.
not a dark side. She's been realistic.
But with that being said, I cushioned that by saying you've also got the Rams who've lost, 3 straight? And they've got they're built like, one of LeBron's teams.
You mean old?
I look at the Packers. I looked at Tampa here lately. So, it's hard to say, but I would just... I'm going to be interested to see what they do against Washington.
All right, Nick, you next. Size up where, again, big
answer.
picture.
I'm sorry, guys.
Size up where you think this team sits right now in this little respite period.
Yeah, obviously this is as healthy as they've been. So, the arrow you would think is pointing up. I didn't agree with that, line of thinking that Jane said because, and it happened a lot right after Twitter. Right after the game, a lot on Twitter was just like, what's going on is ugly win. And I was like, well, we have different definitions of ugly because I looked at it like everything that, that they had dealt with. Like you named everything that the Saints had dealt with, but everything the Cowboys had dealt with. If practice, if a head coach being at the game didn't matter and practice didn't matter, then they wouldn't do it. And so I just think all of the crap that they had to deal with and their weight room closed and the O-line, all that, to go in there and just get that win at that place, I thought it was a good win. They had to have it. They were just as desperate as the Saints, and they figured out a way to win. And I think the ugly victories are in the division. It's just going to continue to happen. I mean, there's no more pretty victories. I don't think anymore.
Quick react.
But what happens if they play a really good team at this point?
Like who?
Arizona.
Well, beat them. Beat them. I mean,
well, you have to beat them. But I
play
guess,
better. I mean,
I
play
guess
better.
my thing is this, and so we've
You
all,
will play Arizona, by the way.
Right.
That happens.
My thing is this, and we've all done this. This is not about the division. I mean, we can make it what you want. I mean, the Cowboys have not been to the Super Bowl since 1995. The optimism early in the season, there was open talk about Super Bowl.
By who?
Sure, the whole
players.
nation.
I mean, when they were 6-1,
The team.
that was
Okay.
fair.
There was, well, fair or not. I'm just saying.
Okay. Are they
there
still
was,
talking
I'm saying
about
it was fair at
But
6-1.
my point is this.
I think
is
Dak
that,
is.
Yeah, I mean,
or thinking it.
Cool.
Michael Parsons is talking about it. I mean, there's open talk that this was a special season.
I
We've
think
talked
they
about
still
the
think it
Jane
is,
talked
by the
about
way.
this. It has a chance to be, but the way they're playing, yes, they got the win. It was important. They had to get the win. Okay,
Yeah.
they had to get the win. So getting the win was most important.
No doubt.
But you cannot feel good about the where they're playing in terms of the overall goal.
All right.
They're still not right.
I like that.
Yeah.
To your comment, I actually put on Twitter moments before the New Orleans game, not that it matters, but it was an opinion I had at the time, that if this team doesn't dominate this poor representation of the Saints like Buffalo did 2 weeks earlier, Super Bowl talk needs to be out the window for a minute. And I agree with you, though.
So did they?
But that's all that matters.
No, they did not.
They
It
didn't
was a
dominate.
good win. I agree with you. I'm not against you.
Yeah,
they had to have it. I think they got it mainly because her guy, Taysom Hill, is awful.
He sucks. That's throwing.
Just awful.
Throwing.
He didn't have any weapons.
Stop it.
Stop it.
Stop it.
I
He
won't
was
stop
awful.
it.
He was
didn't have
awful.
anybody to get the ball to.
And,
Well,
they
that-
didn't have nobody to get the ball to them.
And when is that going to
And
change?
their offensive line was
KT.
missing their 2 starting tackles.
Can't throw.
He is not a big league quarterback. I don't care what anybody
Yes,
says.
yes,
he
he's
would
not.
be a nice little hybrid of some sort, but Peyton
he's
really
never getting
needs
quarterback money. Okay, never getting quarterback.
He's not
money.
a starter. I will agree with
He's
that.
not a backup either. But
But
listen,
anyway, let's do it this way real
runner.
quick because I like everybody's point of view.
Yeah.
Let's try this.
There's a lot of 'em.
I think with 5 games to go, 4 against the division, with a little rest, with a little bit of a cavalry coming, there are 2 points of view, and I've heard both of them strongly from everybody I've talked to for a week. One of them is they're going to regain their footing. It's a great opportunity. Washington, New York, Washington again. Get control of the division, but it is a little gulp right now. 2 up with 2 against Washington in the next 14 days. They lose both of those. It's a
and
big
with
gulp.
Gardner Minshew under center in Philly.
Yeah, but and then that's one narrative. And if I were guessing, I would think about 65% of Cowboys fans have that point of view. They will get their footing back. Dak will be fine, and they'll dominate again. The other 35% are thinking, here we go again.
Right.
They teased us. They acted like they were going to be something,
And
and they're middling around, and they're not anything.
because this thing should be over. If they beat Denver and they beat the Raiders, I don't care what you say. The Raiders, 4 or 5 games, they got 4 losses. The only win was against the Cowboys. They lost to everybody. Just go look at lost to everybody else up the Cowboys.
They
There's
just
no
lost to Washington.
You're right. There's no reason they should have, they should have messed around with that game. That game should not have been where it was, and there are a lot of reasons why. Amari Cooper, Dak, all that other stuff. We can go all defense, all of that. But the bottom line is the Cowboys messed around and let this thing become close. And the idea, there are a lot of Cowboy fans who were just, they're going to play wide, they'll be fine. They're going to get back to rolling again. They got everybody back. Do they? In one we haven't even talked about today, all the talk about Zeke being hurt. You know, Tony Pollard's hurt now. He has a foot injury. Zeke Elliott practiced today. Tony didn't.
Well, does it matter? They haven't been running the ball that much lately.
No, they haven't been running the ball that well lately. They've tried. They want to run the ball. They haven't run the ball that well lately. And as bad as they've been, they will be worse without Tony Pollard, with an injured Tony Pollard. They need to be able to run the ball and make this offense go. So the idea that now the receivers are back and they're just going to start hitting on all cylinders. Dak is always great against Washington with an injured Zeke and an injured Tony Pollard.
Well, the good news
I don't know that that's going to happen.
But the good news is with Washington, Logan Thomas is likely not playing, and Montez Sweat is in COVID protocol. So
And
there's
he's
2
missed
little
4
breaks.
games.
Yeah, but he hadn't played anyway. They won without Montez Sweat. But I'm just saying that from a Cowboys point of view, the Cowboys getting back on a roll and turn the button on because everybody's back. It just doesn't work like that.
I just don't
But
know
I
what
will
to
say
think of
this.
them right now, I think is where I'm coming from.
That is a Cowboys beat writer's point of view because if you look across the league, everybody's got injuries. I mean, Green Bay's winning without Aaron Jones. Everybody has injuries. This year, in particular, with the COVID issue, it is crazy. The Chargers just lost Keenan Allen and Mike Williams at the same time. And some teams are managing it just fine.
Like the Cowboys. Don't forget the Cowboys.
Cowboys are fighting through it.
No,
I was
no,
about to
I'm
jump in
talking
there
about the
to
first
that
6
point.
games.
Yeah.
I mean, like they've been dealing with it too.
That's
now.
right.
I mean,
and they're 8-4.
Right.
They're
But
fighting
but
through
my
it.
point was against the Saints, they were fairly healthy guys. And maybe this is
Well,
we've-
Amari played how many plays?
Right, but we've talked about this in the past. Sometimes there has been an issue with Dak and the receivers in terms of timing. They actually have proven to us and said to us they need time together, and they haven't had a lot of time together as a unit with Dak. So maybe this is simply they need to get their reps in, and maybe there is a little bit of rust there. I think what just concerned me is you had a team that was significantly handicapped, whereas you were able to get back a lot of your players ahead of that game, and it just didn't feel like a dominant win. And I hear what you're saying. I mean, all of Washington's wins right now have been ugly, and no
Well, they
one
won
cares
them.
how you win.
But
They care about the win.
But the expectation for Washington was different than Dallas. Washington
Correct.
wasn't 7-2. Washington was just scuffling just to be back in the race. The Cowboys were quote unquote competing for home field advantage throughout the playoffs. They're one of these teams that were on the threshold of being a legitimate Super Bowl contender. It wasn't just about scuffling.
Let me ask.
And look, but to your point, so were the Rams. I mean, what's happened to the Rams?
Oh,
Yeah,
my
but we
God.
don't care about the Rams. We're talking about the
Well, you
Cowboys.
should care about
No,
the Rams
we
when you look at the
don't.
NFC standings.
No,
Well,
but what I'm
you make
saying is,
comparisons, though,
You make
Chill,
comparisons,
is
but it's
all.
not about, okay, the Rams are struggling too. That doesn't make Cowboy fans feel better.
All right, I'm going to give my point of view, and then I want all of yours with these two narratives. And I'll surprise you. You think I'm Mr. Negative, and you're turning all dark.
I'm not dark.
I think I'm kind of
I'm
with Nick.
ambiguous right now.
It was a win they had to get. Let me tell you, they lose that game in New Orleans. If Taysom Hill isn't awful,
sky is falling.
and they don't get 4 turnovers, in the
Listen, and if they don't get 4 turnovers, they still might lose that game. That's the sad part, and that's the thing I struggle with is because the offense was so bad in the second half. Outside of that one run,
they had
the
7
offense was
3-and-outs.
if they don't get 4, if Taysom Hill is not so bad and the defense gets 4 turnovers and Carlos Watkins doesn't return one for
Well,
a
don't
touchdown,
forget,
that game is still in the balance
Chill.
late in that game.
Don't forget the offense goes 3 and out in their only possession in overtime against Vegas on Thanksgiving.
Yeah, so
offense all of a sudden doesn't want to help.
So right, so the notion that they can just turn it on and they can be back to what they were, I don't know that, especially with the running game not
All right.
producing.
Well, I was giving my opinion. You can give yours
and
next.
one more thing. I'm sorry. The other issue that came up in the Denver game that we said wasn't a blueprint, the receivers are not getting separation. That is the biggest issue with the passing
Well,
game.
Jerry says they're not running their route.
Well, whatever.
Which was
Jerry
interesting
talked
of
about
him
it.
to
Jerry
say,
brought it up
right?
and threw them under the bus. But the receivers are not getting separation. That's why teams are playing more bump and run. They're not getting separation. That's what offense is struggling.
All right, here's the way I've answered it than anybody who's asked me in the last week. And I firmly believe this. I never say anything I don't believe. That's a curse most of the time. But I think they're fine. I think they will get their footing back. I think they're a better team than Washington. We'll get into that later in the show. The gulp factor with the Redskins, the Washington that finally may have a football team. They're doing some nice things, and it deserves a little attention. But I think they're fine. I think this team with Dak as their quarterback. You were talking about the expectations, Chill. They did go through the roof. Everybody's calling them a front runner. They're more comfortable not being that. They're more comfortable being the underdog that everybody's counting out. And Dak, everybody's off the bandwagon. I heard Dak say that somewhere in the last couple of weeks. I think they're going to be fine. I think it's
What's fine?
I think they're going to reestablish themselves as a dominant team in the division and the conference. And I think they're going to go into the playoffs with a little head of steam. And then it's just a matter of what they do there.
Who do you trust more as a coach?
What, Nick? What?
I'm laughing at
just-
Clarence.
I
I just don't get what Clarence. I don't get it. Like, what are you scoffing about? Like,
I'm not saying what is fine. I'm just saying what
who
is
cares
fine.
what fine is?
It-
Fine is
fine matters
winning the
because-
game in the playoffs. Winning
No.
that game.
That's
right, in
right.
the playoffs. Right.
So what-
Right. So what I'm saying is, and you've been around here a long time.
Yeah,
I've been
but
around here a
what-
long time. So to say that they're going to be fine winning the division and surviving Washington is not fine.
Well, we're just saying take a point of view. Take a point of view. That's my point of view.
so
That's
What's
all I'm
yours?
asking.
Let
What
me
is
ask you
fine?
this.
That's all I'm asking what that is.
Let me ask you this: if they beat Washington 24-20 and then beat the Giants on the road
3-0,
31-10, and then I'm gonna stand there in the Meadowlands and I'm gonna say they're about to kick Aaron Rodgers' ass, don't you think? And you're gonna be like, we'll see. I'm like, no, they've won 3 in a row on the road. They're better than fine. And you're going to say, it doesn't matter until you get to the playoffs. So what is the point? Like, get to the playoffs.
Well, that is the point. But
That
my
is-
point is
that is the point, but you
that is
can't-
the point. But my point is this:
The point is, can they win a Super Bowl?
Right. That is the point. That is always
Not in December.
Playoff game.
not in
Correct.
December, but
Never happened.
But
That's true.
My point is, I always judge the Cowboys on what they do late in the season. I've been here a long time, and I've followed this team since I was a child, just like you have.
Yeah.
Okay. They don't hang division title banners at AT&T Stadium.
Aren't you still a child,
They don't.
really?
They don't. Okay. The goal is to 1995. And we talked about the excitement of Cowboy fans and them openly talking about this being a special team and special season. They said it. Mike McCarthy says it.
Clarence.
That is the goal, and that's what we're talking about.
Clarence, you can still.
So scuffling is not a fine.
Hey,
to me.
look. When they were 13-3 in 2016, didn't you think them going into the playoffs? They were the nuts. The best teams can lose.
what?
The best teams
The
can
what?
lose. It's called the nuts.
The walnuts.
If you got the best hand in poker, you got the nuts. All right?
These-
But
Two Americans. That's called two
but listen
Americans.
to me. The narrative goes week to week.
It is.
Don't jump to the playoff game. What is your point of view right now?
My point of view, when they were 6-1 and 7-2, was this has a chance to be a special season, just like there was there. My point of view right now, I don't know.
Same.
I don't have any confidence
Same.
in this being a special season. That's my point.
Okay.
From week to week. This week, I'm not confident in this being a season that's going to end up any differently than the last.
And oddly, I am confident. Jane?
I would just say it's hard to say if they're going to be a really special team if they do find themselves going deep in the playoffs, given, to your point, all the adversity that they've had this year. Because while I was listening to Sean Payton boo-hoo about his team and the injuries, I literally said to him, Sean, look at what they had to play with last year and look at what they've played with this year. I mean, they lost their quarterback for a game. They lost their wide receiver for 2 games. They've had offensive line woes. They haven't had their defensive line intact. And I guess you could still argue that we're still trying to figure out the secondary.
I'm sorry. What team are you talking about?
Cowboys.
I thought you were talking about the Saints.
No, what my argument to him was is he was belly aching about the team he was about to roll out there. I'm like, but look what the Cowboys have accomplished, and they also, by the way, don't have their head. How good would Sean's team be without Sean on the sidelines? And
Worse
so
than the
They would lose
Cowboys.
5 straight.
Worse than the Cowboys.
Just
So-
like they have.
Like they are.
But
They're
my
working
argument
on it.
is, I think if they can make a run here, that's what defines them as special
Yeah.
because of all the adversity
Well-
they've had. I just think it's the way they're playing lately. The offense isn't scoring 38 points on average as of late. That we're talking about the defense sort of bailing them out of some of these games.
All right, let's all
That's-
pause and
And
get
who-
Nick's point of view now.
Well, and that's. I'll just go to what she said right there. 5 weeks ago, 6 weeks ago. Well, I mean, Micah Parsons was a good player. I mean, he was a really good player and a great rookie. He was great for rookie season, but he was a really good player. Now, like, he's getting compared to Lawrence Taylor, and
Barry Sanders.
and how can you really argue against it? Like, it's hard to argue it. Like, forget rookie of the year. Like, who's the best defensive player in all of football? It's a legitimate argument, even though it sounds kind of awkward to say, but that is the case. He's gotten better in 5 weeks. He'll probably get better in the next 5 weeks. This is a team, especially with Gregory now and D-Law, that's a scary front. Like, I think this is becoming a defensive team. Well,
and I think Mike McCarthy hit the nail on the head when he said December he gets excited about because it's going to be all about complementary football. If they can finally put all phases of the game together, I think this team can be special. I think they've got the mindset, I think they've got the moxie, and I think they've got the talent.
They still have all that.
They just haven't put it together, Steve.
They went
and
through...
And so if you ask me right now, because I haven't seen them put it all together, I'm ambiguous about this team because I don't know what to make of them.
And I'm sure that media beat writers, Tampa Bay beat writers last year felt the same way about that team when they hit a funk. And it happens. You go through this. The Cowboys have been fighting through sort of an injury-induced loss of confidence, COVID-hit funk. And
AFC better.
And the fun part of that is here we sit right now wondering which way it'll go. And the old To Tell the Truth show. Will the real Dallas Cowboys please stand up? What are the real Dallas Cowboys? They would squirm in their chair and they'd fake like they were going to stand up. And
I don't know. I thought that was a Slim Shady song.
Way too young to tell the truth.
But I guess I think it goes back to what you said earlier about the 40%. Of here we go again, because there a lot of Cowboy fans have PTSD.
Absolutely,
they've seen this. They've been excited and seen the rug pulled out from under them many times before, and that's how they feel right now. It's going to happen again. That's what they feel right now.
That's right.
I'm not saying that's out there.
And that's legitimate. Sure it is.
So when we compare to other teams going to funk, other teams are having problems. The Rams got problems. But we're talking about the Cowboys. We're talking about Cowboy fans with this PTSD.
All right, it's Media Mash. Slater Jane from the NFL Network is here. Nick Eatman from Dallas Cowboys All Media. Clarence E. Hill from the Fort Worth Star-Telegram. Next segment, a multiple choice quiz for our fabulous beat writers, answering the question, which of these has to happen? I'm going to make it a multiple choice for you in the final 5 games for the Cowboys to get that swagger back and have everybody believing they can have a playoff run. This is Media Mash.
Honey, big news.
Gary, are you okay?
Oh, I'm not Gary anymore. I'm Jackie Flash.
What?
See, I want the latest smartphone, but the best deals are only for new customers. So, to get a new customer deal, I changed my name to Jackie Flash.
Okay, but the best smartphone deals at AT&T are for everyone, new and existing customers.
That's huge. Then guess who's getting a deal?
Is it Jackie Flash?
Jackie Flash.
It's not complicated. At AT&T, our best smartphone deals are for everyone. Restrictions apply. Visit att.com for details.
New Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar. You deserve it.
I do deserve that.
You deserve decadent flavor without sugar. And a day at the beach without sand getting everywhere. And a relaxing bath that your children don't interrupt.
I deserve all that?
It's really just a visual metaphor for Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar. Everything you want, nothing you don't.
A visual metaphor on the radio. I do deserve that.
Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar. The zero you deserve is finally here.
Before there was a draft, you could size up a cowboy by 3 simple factors: the crease in his hat, the bend of his brim, and his unbending attitude. A man Stetson didn't just protect him from what life threw at him, it projected a rugged, unstoppable spirit. Stetson hats are still American-made with pride right here in Texas. They're still the unofficial crown of all self-respecting cowboys, and Stetson is proud to be on the field with America's team. Find a retailer nearest you at stetson.com/cowboys.
There's nothing as unique as our eyes, which is why Essilor pioneers ways to make lenses as unique as you. Verilux for super sharp vision, Essential Blue for protection, and Crizal for freedom from glare. 3 cutting-edge solutions in a single unique lens. So whatever your needs, insist on Essilor. Visit your local Essilor experts and find the perfect lens for you. See more, do more, Essilor.
Back to Media Mash.
We are live right now in the SWBC podcast studio here at the Star in Frisco. My name is Steve Dennis. Jane's here, Nick and Clarence. All right, here we go. A little multiple choice quiz. My daughter's in finals right now at The Ohio State University, so she really has gone out of pocket on her parents. Can't text her, can't call her. So with that spirit in mind, I'm going to throw a little quiz at you, a little final at you. It's multiple choice, so it's real easy. I got the choices for you. Here's the question. What has to happen, first and foremost, for the Cowboys bandwagon to fill back up going into the postseason, these final 5 games? Multiple choice, 5 answers. Number 1, run the football better. Number 2, solid continuity on the offensive line. Number 3, defense, getting reinforcements to take it to a higher level. Number 4, Dak needs to play better. Number 5, with respect to Jerry, the wide receivers need to run better routes. No, I'm kidding. Or Amari, CD, Gallup need to be fabulous, healthy as a trio. Those 5, if you need me to repeat it, I will.
I don't.
Clarence, you go first.
I'm confused because, and I'm sorry, I know this is supposed to be 1 and 2 go hand in hand, and 4 and 5 go hand in hand.
Just pick one.
But they go hand in hand.
I don't care. Pick
You have
one
to pick a pill.
and give that point of view.
If I had to pick one, I
Yes.
would have to pick Dak. Playing better, that means the receivers are going to play better. So that's 4 and 5 together to me. I'm sorry. But they need this
Not
offense.
necessarily.
They
Gallup
need this,
could play off the moon, and Dak could miss him.
But I
I
think that one reason why Dak hasn't played well is because the receivers aren't playing off the moon. They are not getting the separation. If they get some cohesiveness between the quarterback and the receiving core, I think that'll make people feel better about them because I don't see the running game. I don't see Zeke getting better.
All right, can I interject real quick, Clarence? Because all 5 of them need to work hand in hand for it to happen.
I'm sorry. I gave my answer.
He's a critical thinker.
I mean,
it's not. But you can't talk about the offensive line or running game without the offensive line because the offensive line has been just as big of a problem with the running game and vice versa. I'm sorry.
He gets so worked up.
All right, Nick, you got one?
Yeah. Number 2. Offensive line. What was it? Offensive line.
Solid continuity in the offensive line.
And you get that. If you get solid continuity on the offensive line, and they're, well, can they also play well too? I mean,
yeah.
You could have the same 5 guys all year and they all suck, and then it wouldn't matter.
And that's what McCarthy said today when people questioned him about his lack of continuity. I thought you were a big continuity guy, but yet you keep moving these guys in and out. I mean, he said you got to play well too.
Yeah.
Well,
can I just kind of amend it to that
before about the continuity fantasy
Well,
football. So if you're slamming reporters for asking that,
I'm
brought up that very point.
I'm kind of assuming in the choice that solid continuity means that we'll play better together.
If they play better, then it goes back to 1, they'll run better, which goes to 4, Dak will throw better, which means they'll play, and all that. And the defense doesn't need to play better for me.
Yeah, I think the defense.
They're good.
To me, I'm confident. That's the crazy part about this. I feel better about the defense.
Now you're taking another choice. You
said we comment on each other's choices.
2. Yeah, fix that line.
All right, I want to make comment on yours.
I thought we weren't doing that.
We're reacting to each's comments.
Okay.
Solid continuity with the offensive line. Jerry's comment this week goes against that. Is it going to be Steele? Is it going to be Collins? Is it going to be both?
It's going to be Collins.
What's it going to be?
Lyle Collins at right tackle.
And what's up with Steele?
Steele's going to play the 6th offensive line.
He's going to be like.
He's going to be the tight end. He's going to be the tight end heavy set.
Like, what are you doing? You're like, any other place if you do that, but it's very normal if you run over there and you do that to the official.
Yeah,
and
he's
say,
going to be the 6th guy. But back to your point, I think that the offensive line is important because I think Dak does not trust the offensive line. That's part of his decision making in throwing the ball as well. And of course, we know that's part of why the running game hasn't been as well as
kind of disagree there. One play in that Saints game, I thought it was one of the key plays of the game after Parsons' sack. They pinned him down 10. They pinned him down like at the 4-yard line, so it was like early 4th. Dak stood in the end zone, I thought, a little bit longer than he should. He kind of waited, slid, threw it pass to CD. That got him out of there, that breathing room. I thought that was a key play, and I thought Dak, I even said there, I was like, man, I don't think I would have stood in there that long.
Yeah,
that's just one play.
Right, but I think most of the game, though, he was a little antsy and not trusting. And certainly if you watch Kurt Warner.
They're out of sync.
You watch Kurt Warner breakdown.
All right, Jane, I feel like nobody likes my multiple choice quiz, but it's your turn to give an answer.
It's a good answer. Good
None
question.
of the above.
Oh, God.
What?
Well, then no, then she doesn't like
You're worse than chill.
Well, I'm just going to go with I think ultimately we've seen the coaches. If the coaches aren't performing at their best, it can affect the team. We saw that last year. You could argue it was talent. You could also argue it was coaching. So I think they're going to need the coaches to be on their A game. And for Kellen Moore, that is calling more run plays.
Not up the middle run plays. I hope not, because that dive up the middle needs to get out the playbook.
Well, we're gonna break into a discussion on that.
First down and second down run, he's got the playbook.
All right.
Maybe some outside edge runs.
You can't just take it out of the playbook.
Yeah, I know.
All right, my answer is
Flea flicker, though.
My answer is the same as Clarence. Dak needs to play better.
I agree.
I've been telling everybody, hey, Steve, what do you think? Dak needs to play better. I say that from the point of view, the reason I'm positive about this team going forward is all about number 4. And I think it's an insult, quite frankly, to Dak that everybody says they need to run the football more. That is absolute BS. Nobody says that about the Chiefs when Mahomes struggles. They need to run Edwards-Helaire more. Nobody says that. Nobody says it about Buffalo when they're struggling. Nobody says, man, that Josh Allen, they need to run the ball more. Dak is one of the magic quarterbacks in this league. Now, you obviously need to run it to complement what you're doing. But if you think it's a better idea to take the ball out of Dak's hands and run 180 yards a game, well, you're not going to get that, or try to do that, I think you're wrong. This thing is all about Dak, and people would be surprised because I was looking over all the first downs play calls in all of their 3 and outs in the last 3 games. More passes than runs, but they're about even. Everybody assumes they're just running and not getting anything.
My problem with the 2nd and 10 runs.
Well, you know what Kellen did in all those 3 and outs?
In 2nd and 10, he's running the ball.
If he's throwing it on first down, he's running it on second. If he's running it on first, he's throwing it on second. And there were positive gains there. There were 5-yard runs, 8-yard run, 4-yard. Anyway, but here's the thing about Dak, and you can hide this. You just can't. Dak in his first 8 games had a 6-2 record. Now his record, because he's the quarterback, with the head coach, as Parcells always taught us. Those are the only 2 that get the record on their name. He's 1-2. He's had 3 touchdowns and 3 interceptions in 3 games. He had 20-5 in the 8 games that he played previous. His completion percentage in these 3 games, 61%. 73 in the 8 games previous. 293 yards passing per game the first 8. He's down to 275. Dak is simply not playing well.
Hold on. Steve, do you realize how hypocritical you sound?
Why?
I'm serious. You just said he doesn't need... They don't need to run the ball. They don't need to take the ball out of his hands. You named all of these stats about the first 8 games and the last 3, and you're not mentioning that Zeke Elliott hasn't run for more than like 40 yards the last 3 games, but they were running for 150, almost 200 yards a game.
And Dak was throwing for 400.
Right, but they go hand in hand.
That's what I'm saying. Like, they were a balanced team running the football. They
had the number 1 rushing offense in the league.
Yes.
I don't think you need a balanced offense. You need to run it solidly as a complementary when you've got a quarterback like Dak and Mahomes. Nobody cares what the Chiefs are
Dak
doing.
And Mahomes
running the football.
Nobody
cares.
Would you stop comparing Patrick Mahomes to Dak Prescott?
I'm comparing
he wins
the most
kind of trophy?
elite players at the position in the league.
They have different styles of playing the quarterback.
Aaron Rodgers, nobody cares. Dylan comes in for Aaron Jones. Nobody cares how much they're running the football.
They do care how they're running the football.
No, but it's about the elite stature of the quarterbacks, and I think Dak is one of them.
I don't.
Nobody cares if Chase Edmonds, when he's healthy, is running the ball for the Cardinals. They care about what Kyler Murray's doing. And everybody should care with this team what Dak's doing. If Zeke is going to help, great. If Pollard's going to help, great. But they're going to go somewhere because of number 4.
I disagree. The best head coach that we've ever seen in the NFL just about 6 weeks ago just told you we're not going to let Ezekiel Elliott beat us. We're going to make Dak have to do this.
That's right. And Dak needs to play better. He needs to answer the bell.
And he did.
He did when they were going 6-2, no matter what the situation was.
Like, he beat them that game. Like, he beat them. Like, eventually they won. So, like, that proved him wrong because you can't stop everything. But I just think it's weird to just say Dak needs to play better, but the running game was what was carrying this. I think was carrying the whole offense in the first.
Well, that's funny. Nobody was talking about Zeke being the MVP, Nick. They were talking about Dak being the MVP.
Who's they?
Whole world.
Not me. I'm sorry. Not me. I never thought Dak would win MVP.
And Dak, by the way, was ridiculously accurate. He was throwing for 400 yards a game. He had a 73% completion percentage.
So what's changed?
He's missing receivers.
What's changed, though?
His timing's
other
off.
than the running back hobbling around with a bad knee.
2 weeks ago against Vegas, he missed Gallup wide open in the end zone.
Y'all want to play? Like, y'all jump.
I'm just letting y'all go because
I'm zoning out.
I'm sorry.
When Steve is at this point, you can't talk to him. You cannot
talk to him.
You cannot reason with him.
No, Nick and I had a nice little argument. Your turn to chime in.
Yeah,
you can't.
Bring something.
I've always said from the beginning it goes hand in hand. Like when I was doing your multiple choice, you just can't pick one. Okay, you can't. That's just not realistic. Yes, Dak needs to play better. He would play better if the offensive line was better, if the running game could run. You know, they're averaging 3.3 yards a carry over the last 3 weeks or something like that. If the receivers could get separation, if your best receivers are on the field, if Noah Brown wasn't dropping passes, what are you counting on here? Again, as I said, Denver coach was right. There is a blueprint with this offense. If you cover those receivers, they don't get separation. That takes some continuity. They don't have any continuity on offense. You watch these drives, there was no rhythm. There's no flow on offense because the receivers are not getting separation and not getting open. That affects Dak. You talk about Dak's game, how bad he's been. CeeDee Lamb admitted today that 4th and 2, that was his fault. That was his miscommunication. That's what blew that up. That game would have been totally different against the Saints if they hit that 4th and 2.
Yeah, you always have one play that would have changed the whole game.
It's about momentum.
Slater,
it's about the flow of the game.
Slater,
when I talk about rhythm and flow, that's part of it.
Okay, Slater's turn.
What is it on the floor? They're like, I concede my minutes to Clarence Hill.
I mean, goodness. I mean, that's why I sat out.
Okay, can I go or do you? I want to hear from you.
Please go.
But you're missing my overall point. But okay,
explain.
All that stuff is important to every team, but I'm comparing the top quarterbacks in the league. Nobody's discussing Pringle dropping a ball in Kansas City. They're saying Mahomes needs to play better, and he is. And now they're winning. Same thing with Aaron Rodgers. The elite quarterbacks. Kyler Murray needs to get healthy. They've got no shot.
This team goes as Dak goes.
Absolutely. And people need to understand that. If this thing is going to win anything, it'll be because of Dak's play.
I agree, but the difference is Dak has never been Superman. Okay, Mahomes has been Superman, and Aaron Rodgers is Superman.
Do so much.
He's not Superman. Okay, he's an efficient quarterback.
If they win the Super Bowl, he will be Superman.
No,
Go ahead.
It's a difference.
I think, given what we had a lot of question marks heading into the season, and I think given what Dak has done, even the way he willed them in that overtime against the Raiders, you saw him coming out there and firing on all cylinders. That was a drop ball, wasn't it?
Which
His
one?
First drop ball, final drive before they went into overtime. He fired that one off. I think that was his first drop ball in regulation in the fourth quarter.
I think that was the one a lot of people thought was going to be PI over the middle to Schultz since they threw that flag a couple times in the game. Is that what we're talking about?
Well, but my
I don't know. I'm sorry, your point.
Well, my point on this is I feel like Dak has literally played as well as he can, given the lack of continuity on the offensive line, given the lack of weapons on offense that have been healthy or consistent. You can only expect him to do so much. Everybody else around him has got to play better. So if we're going to just say Dak's got to play better, I agree, but Dak can play better when the rest of the team plays better.
And I would venture this, and you keep bringing Mahomes up. Mahomes is not playing well right now.
I'm bringing all the top quarterbacks up.
I'm just saying, Denver's winning, but Mahomes' quarterback rating In their win against Denver, 57.3. No touchdowns, interceptions.
Maybe that defense is just that good.
That defense has improved. Against Dallas, his quarterback rating was 71.9 with one interception, no touchdown. He didn't play great that game either. I'm just saying that it all goes together.
I just love it. It all goes together in Buffalo, too. Singletary doesn't run the ball for S. And neither does Zach Moss.
Did Buffalo do it? Did they win Monday night?
It's all on Josh Allen.
Is it?
Yes. Yes, and it's all on Dak, whether you want to admit his $160 million deal makes it back.
Now we get to
what I love about all this, guys.
Now we get to the money.
This is when I know you guys feel like family. This is what Christmas feels like. Thanksgiving feels like.
Now
we talk
we
all
get to the
over
money.
each other.
This is the way any
the same
Cowboys
concepts.
conversation should be. Go ahead.
I don't think, and I say this like, I love Dak. I think Dak is awesome in so many ways. I don't think he's those three guys you keep throwing in there. I don't think he is. And
there, he gonna bring up the money now.
Oh, well, yeah, but you're the last person to bring up money because you hate contracts and you hate talking about that.
Why don't you think he is? Who are we putting in the conversation?
I think you got to make the right decisions with those contracts.
I think there's 3 or 4 players that can just will their team to victory and without a lot of great help. And I don't think he's one of them.
You don't want him. What about Kyler Murray? Is he?
I don't think we've seen it just yet. He hasn't ever won a playoff game, and nothing really matters until you do that.
So you're going to say Brady, you're going to say Rodgers, you're going to say Mahomes?
Yeah, I mean, like that's it. Like I don't put him in that level, and what's wrong with that? There's nothing wrong with that.
All of them have won Super Bowls, so it is a little bit of an unfair comparison.
Okay, there's only 4 right now that I'm not counting Big Ben, but there's really 4 guys that are playing right now. And when Russell was cooking, really, like he was doing it without a lot of great play. He's won a Super Bowl too, but there's just not that many. It's okay. That's okay. Dak, you need a great running game and you need receivers. That's okay.
But did he not will this team? Most teams would have broke when your franchise quarterback goes out his rookie season. And as a rookie, to do what he did. I mean, he got Jason Garrett Coach of the Year. And then
just him, not.
Well, I'm saying he had a lot to do with it. Yeah,
you think
absolutely.
he was better than Dak?
Back then, Zeke would have been my MVP.
I would say
not
the offensive line had a lot to do with it.
Things have changed.
They needed help. Like he doesn't need as much help as he used to.
Right, but I would
and
argue that even this year we're seeing how important he is to this team, not only just from his play, but the leadership perspective. So
it's easy to say, but then I watched the Minnesota game.
I
saw Cooper Rush win the game.
So let me ask you this question: if Aaron Rodgers was here, what would the record for the Cowboys be given some of the challenges that they've had injury-wise?
Man, that's hard to know. That's fun to guess, though.
10-2.
It's fun to guess.
Probably 10-2. See, okay, here's why. Let's talk about something else.
This game with COVID?
Yeah, is his toe better?
It might be 2 better.
He would have finished.
Hold on.
Where's his toe?
But let's talk about this, though, for Dak. I don't know if you've mentioned this yet or it's on the rundown or whatever, but, like, there's a reason why I don't think he's playing as good. He's never going to win your passing competition with his arm. That's not his thing. He can throw, but he's the touch, the accuracy. That's not his strong. Not his strong suit.
Now I was on that train. I was on that train a year and a half ago, and he's gotten me off of it.
He can throw the ball. There's no doubt about it. But he misses more throws than some of the better ones. That's not what Dak does. Dak's game is running, throwing, being elusive, and all that. I think he's afraid to run.
Well, he's not running at all.
I think he's being smarter about it. I think he's been told to be smarter about it.
Okay, well, he's not being
he's being more judicious.
I don't think people...
But I think most quarterbacks do that as they get older, though, right?
See, what I'm trying to say, and I completely respect all of you if you disagree.
It's so nice, Clarence.
If you disagree, but I just think it's time to look at the overall thing in Dallas and understand how they're going to do what everybody hopes they can do. And that is go win 2-3 playoff games and make a championship game. And what the contention I'm making is they're no different than the other top teams that are going to try to do it.
That's
the Rams with Stafford, the Tampa Bay with Brady, Buffalo with Josh Allen, Arizona with Kyler Murray, Kansas City's got Mahomes, Green Bay's got Rodgers. Dak is the answer, and he needs to play better.
There's no doubt, but only one can win it. So if only one wins it, then everybody else didn't live up to expectations.
True, but if you're a true contender, and by the way, everybody had Dak as the second favorite to win the MVP 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, but that's why it's a long season. But what I'm saying is this, Steve. I globally, I agree with you. If the Cowboys are
And he
going to
still
win,
might, though, Steve.
Dak needs to play better. It needs to be played well. He's going to be a big part of that. But I'm saying for Dak to play better and play well, these other things also need to happen.
But what
That's all I'm saying. There's no one disagreeing with
what
that.
are you saying? But
no,
what are you
no.
saying?
Wait a minute. Let me put it this way. This team, Dak now has to be a given. Like Aaron Rodgers is. You can't go week to week and watch him and go,
No, I agree.
Ooh, what is he doing?
But I don't think I agree.
He's got to be a given.
I'll go back to the Vegas game. 33 points, fourth quarter, Dak played well enough to win that game. They gave up 36, and they had too many penalties. But in the fourth quarter, in overtime, you got to make that throw.
Remember,
you got to make that play.
Remember when Kellen Moore says
you can't go 3 and
they're
out.
both yards, they're just yards when this team was rolling with Dak throwing the ball for 400 yards? They need to go back to that. I don't want him to go, we got to run it. We got to run it.
No,
we got to give the ball to Zeke and Tony. Let Dak win games.
The thing is, when they're saying that is because how teams are playing them. And they're playing them. You have to be successful and do other things. When they're taking one thing away,
Well, be
you have
smart
to do
enough.
the other.
Yeah, be smart enough.
So
to
that's
adjust
what they're
to that.
talking about.
That's Jane's point about the coaches. That's their job. Be smart enough. But Dak has to play better, and the offensive line needs continuity.
This is like, are we sitting on Santa's lap and telling him everything we want for Christmas? Because we're actually asking for a perfect football team. That'd be great.
You just opened up Clarence to say something totally inappropriate.
I didn't say anything.
No, but you were thinking it.
I was not. That's your dirty mind.
Coming up next here on Media
How
Man.
you gonna have a dirty mind try to blame it on me?
Does Washington suddenly have itself a football team?
Nick is just over here.
Next on Media Mash.
Trying to blame it on me.
Want to use what the pros use? How about the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys, Jack Black? Right now, you can get the Jack Black Starter, a curated collection of Cowboys locker room favorites for just $10 with free shipping. The starter includes 4 Jack Black skincare favorites plus a full-sized intense therapy lip balm. Go to getjackblack.com/Cowboys and use the code word TEAMJB. That's getjackblack.com/Cowboys. The Jack Black Starter, $10, free shipping.
At AT&T, everyone, new and existing customers, get our best deals on every smartphone. Why? Because you deserve it. For turning your living room into your office and your gym. For teaching Grandma how to video call. And teaching her again.
It's the button on your left, Nana. Okay, your other left.
It's not complicated. Everyone deserves something new. So AT&T is giving everyone, new and existing customers, our best deals with every unlimited plan on every smartphone, even the latest ones.
AT&T may temporarily slow data speeds if the network is busy. Restrictions and exceptions may apply.
Hi, I'm Clint Tillison with...
And I'm Jay Novacek, and we're both with...
United Ag and Turf, the official tractor provider of the Dallas Cowboys.
So, if you need a tractor to bale some hay, a mower to cut some grass, or a gator to get some chores done...
Get a John Deere at United Ag and Turf.
And then, let's get to work.
Hey, Jay, that's my line.
Well, not today.
Get to work with a John Deere tractor package that's just right for you and your budget. Visit UnitedAgAndTurf.com.
Before there was a draft, you could size up a cowboy by 3 simple factors: the crease in his hat, the bend of his brim, and his unbending attitude. A man Stetson didn't just protect him from what life threw at him, it projected a rugged, unstoppable spirit. Stetson hats are still American-made with pride right here in Texas. They're still the unofficial crown of all self-respecting cowboys, and Stetson is proud to be on the field with America's team. Find a retailer nearest you at stetson.com/cowboys.
Back to Media Mash.
I don't know how we made it through last week without getting together for Media Mash fun. What do you think, Nick? Did it feel like a more peaceful week to you last week without it, or
no? There's nothing peaceful about a Monday and a Tuesday that's really like a Friday and a Saturday, and then you have to leave and all that.
Yeah.
No.
Well,
what day is it? Is what it feels like, honestly.
This week actually feels normal again, just because it's like today's Wednesday. What is today? Wednesday. Feels like a Wednesday.
Now, did you guys do everything virtually last week?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nobody was allowed in the building?
Well, see, and I have a crazy week because I've got Monday Night Football, Rams, Cardinals, and then I've got the Giants game the following week, which is kind of weird because Kim Jones has got the Washington game.
But you get to spend Christmas in New York, get to see the tree.
Well, I'm flying in and
That's
out.
such a sweet
Yeah.
thought.
But yeah,
I digress.
You could see,
You see
the
how
big
he kind of how he was like, you got New York.
Get to see the big tree.
Get
No,
to see
I'm
the
going
big
straight
tree.
to the Meadowlands, to my bed, and then up at 4 a.m.
Really? You're not going to come in the night before and hang out with us?
Oh, I got to get up early.
All those years, Clarence, that we were in the hospitality suite on a Saturday night.
Not in New York.
In New York.
Not in New York.
You went to see the tree?
I didn't stay at the hospitality suite in New York. I went to New York.
Yeah, he wasn't going to Jersey. Like that was one trip you probably didn't see, Clarence. Not the Jersey.
Yeah, no, I was in New York.
Yeah, you didn't see me in New Orleans either. We were pretty much at the hotel.
Small fish in a big pond. That's where he wants
Never
to
got
be.
to leave, did you?
No, been waiting 22
bad.
years for the Mavericks to play a game the night before at the same city. Been waiting a long
Oh,
time.
wow. Yeah, you
And it
wanted to go to the
happened.
Mavericks game.
Couldn't go.
I covered the Mavericks
It
New
was over
Orleans
like a blowout.
playoff series when CP3 was brand new.
Look at that.
Remember that?
Yeah.
Everybody's going, CP3, who is this kid?
One of my favorite Star Wars franchises.
He was awesome.
I had a good time in New Orleans. That is one of the
No, we
record
don't
shows.
skip that.
All right, real quick.
Couldn't get out the hotel. I had a good time.
I'm going to
No one's
start.
surprised.
I'm going to start this conversation off with this little tidbit. On Halloween, the Cowboys won without Dak in Minneapolis to go to 6-1. Washington lost; they were 2-6 on Halloween. 6-1, 2-6. Since then, Washington's 4-0. Cowboys are 2-3. Now, we were kidding around about the big gulp. Everybody's assumed that the NFC East was over a month ago because Washington, Philadelphia, and the Giants were so bad and Dallas was so good. They won 4 straight. Beat Tampa, beat Carolina, beat Seattle, beat Vegas. They're doing some good things that we can get into a little bit here. But let's just go around the table with how serious of a threat does the Washington football team feel to you for the Cowboys? Slater Jane.
I think they're missing some pieces, but I do think they've got a little bit of the hot hand right now, and Ron Rivera has been just what that franchise needed. So, hard to say.
Hard to say.
That's not an answer, Jane.
That was a Dan Fogelberg song.
Cowboys win this one on the road.
Oh, there you go. That's
They do.
definitive.
But I
Nice.
wouldn't be surprised if they split the series.
Okay.
They gonna lose in Dallas?
That's all they need to
could
do.
see it.
That's all they need to
That's
do.
all they need to do.
Split the
Yeah.
series.
Good.
I think that Washington is they're one of those teams that like they're going to be right there. They're not good enough to just blow you out, and they haven't really done that. But they don't have to. I mean, that's how good their defense is. But when you play games in the NFL that close, they're not going to win. I mean, to think that they're going to win like 8 out of 9 down the stretch seems unlikely. Now they've already won 4, but I mean, you keep playing that way. It'd be one thing if you're the Patriots in 07, you're just blowing everyone out because you're just so much better than everyone else. But if you play all these games close, like that kicker's going to miss the field goal the next week or whatever. I mean, that's how close these games are. So they have to be perfect. I don't think they play a style to be perfect for 5 more games.
To your point, because the NFL research department makes me so much smarter, I think I read in my packet today that they've actually not won 5 straight. So let me look at that.
Ever in their entire lives as,
hold on here.
as previous
I'll let him weigh in and
Washington
I'll get you
football
that.
team?
I think that there should be concern and legitimate concern because this Washington team is dangerous and they're gaining confidence. And you talk about them, this is a team that's continued to gain confidence with each win, believing when no one else believed in them. When they were 2-6 and everybody thought this thing was done, they're gaining confidence. The Cowboys better not mess around, and that's all I'm saying. They cannot mess around with Washington.
Like that. Don't mess around.
And they cannot. And again, that offensive line is pretty good.
Yeah.
And they got their running game going. The receiver McLaurin is pretty good. They're a dangerous football team. It's a dangerous situation for the Cowboys to go into. They need to get back right because you don't mess around.
All right, we're going to dive in. Go ahead.
I just think one thing about
I got an answer for you.
The confidence, though.
Wait, Jane has an answer for us.
Washington has not won 5 straight games since they won 7 games in a row to end the 2012 season after a 3-6 start. They won the NFC East that year.
RG3.
Okay, that was RG3.
Sometimes confidence, though, can hurt you.
Oh, we saw that in Dallas, right?
Well, that's
Remember
what I'm
everyone
saying.
said they got too cocky.
That's what I'm saying. Like, how many times in this show have we heard everyone said this or everyone said that?
I think
but I'm just
everyone.
I
Right.
think the difference with this one is this team is starting to believe in themselves and no one did. It's because they're not blowing. The Cowboys' confidence was arrogance because they seemed like they could just roll the ball out there and just things would work out for them.
I got in trouble for saying that.
The way Washington is playing is not that they're arrogant. They're starting to believe in themselves because they've won every game by the nose, by their nose. So it's not like they're just hitting on all cylinders, but they're gaining confidence in what they're doing. That's all I'm saying. They're gaining confidence in the belief that they can win.
Usually, people that are out on the moon come down to earth. And so that quarterback.
I don't think they're on the moon though.
He's good. The quarterback is.
Now, he ain't playing that great. He's playing okay.
That's why he wasn't drafted.
Right, but my point is, I don't think he's on the moon. He knows who he is, though. I don't think there's a situation where he doesn't suddenly think he's Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers.
I think he'll come down to earth. But I'll say this: they better stop the run. We talk about all this stuff about rushing the passer on 3rd and 9. What's it going to look like? It may not get to 3rd and 9 if
the Cowboys better stop the run. Right.
I'm going to throw some numbers at you in that regard, but first I'm going to go back to Heineke. Somebody, you're talking about what everybody's saying. I do listen to what everybody's saying, and somebody on ESPN this week, I don't know who, I forget, said that Heineke reminds him of Romo. Does anybody else see that?
No.
I mean, maybe the youthful confidence.
Yeah, the boyish face. But
that's about it.
But Romo, when he electrified this city in 06 and then 07, was a totally different player than Heineke.
But I also think they were both unexpected, though, right?
Yes, but okay, there are parts of it that
I could see it play in the game. The
moxie.
Romo played the game like a point guard. He always did, in my opinion, until he got a little bit better as a thrower. And but I mean, this first few years, it was razzle dazzle, underhand passing to Witten, dropping the ball, pick it up, throwing it left-handed. That's kind of what he does, and I could see that a little bit out of Heineke.
Yeah, if you're going to bring up the point guard thing, I like that. There is a similarity there. But I just remember Tony flinging the ball all over the yard. Heineke's not doing that.
And Tony was a gunslinger, and I think that the comparison is he has moxie like Tony.
Moxie,
that's what he has, but he doesn't have Tony's game. He ain't even close to Tony's game.
All right,
Tony had game.
This dude is just moxie. This dude is a bus driver. Minshew. Let's not get it twisted.
I love this guy.
I love Gardner.
That's not to the end of the season.
Except that hug with his dad was so phony with the camera right there.
Oh, stop!
I mean, he kept going back to.
That's
they're both like that. That's who he is. His dad's the same way.
I covered him.
That's who he is.
I covered him for a game in Jacksonville, and his pregame warm up, y'all. He wore like these sliders with this like cut off top. He had the hair flowing, and it's just think there's like an '80s sports car outside while Jacksonville's playing this like ridiculous like hairband music.
Yeah,
I can't explain him, but there is like this Minshew magic about him, and I love that he's bringing it to Philly.
Yeah, just like the Top Gun thing. I mean, that's who he is. And
he's a quirky cat.
Can he play?
He would have been good in an MTV video in the early 80s. I'll give you that.
He's definitely a good backup quarterback.
All right, real quick, listen to these numbers, fellas. Now, you brought up the run game,
Better
Nick.
than Taysom.
Washington, the last 4 games in their winning streak, is running it for 137 yards per game. Cowboys, in their little 3-game stretch here, 3 games, they're running it for 97 yards per game.
People want to see you.
No, they don't want to see me. They don't need to see me. Here's a stat that really
I'm going to write "Go Michigan" right on that thing.
Gives me respect about this Washington football team. In their 4 games, their third down percentage, 58.5. They were 11 of 19 against the Bucks. 7 of 13, 6 of 13, 5 of 13. The Cowboys in their 3-game stretch, 24%. They're 10 of 41. See, now that's Heineke being the point guard, I think, or having the moxie to get these third downs converted. But for him specifically, he's got 7 touchdowns and 2 interceptions, and he's got a 77 completion percentage. He's playing at a high level.
Yeah,
and you're right. It does make them a dangerous team. They don't have a lot of weapons. I mean, Curtis Samuel's trying to come back, and he brings a little something when he's healthy.
Yeah.
Gibson's a good player. McKissick, I can't figure him out, but he shows up.
Yeah, I mean they're a grinded out team. They're an old school '90s NFC East type of team. They The running back Gibson, I think he leads the NFC now in rushing, and that's kind of where it starts. Comparing him to Romo just seems kind of crazy. I see their games similar, but also, I mean, when Romo finally started playing, you know, he had T.O., he had Jason Witten, I mean, he had Terry Glenn. I mean, he had some guys to kind of throw the ball to. So little bit different game there, but they figured out. I just don't know if you can play that style in this league at this month of the year and keep winning that way every time. It just the percentages don't say that you'll do that, and they're a little bit behind. And if they split, like Jane said, the Cowboys will take that all day. They'll take a split. They'd probably take it. They'd rather take it this way too, with a win. And then whatever happens against the Giants, because you win and you beat the Giants, I think you win the
I just can't see them being that dangerous without Chase Young and without Montez Sweat. I mean, now, if those two guys were there, with Deron Payne and Jonathan Allen on that front, then they'd be scary as heck.
But they were there the first 6 games of the year, right?
I know.
I just don't get it.
Yeah, and they've given up 71 points in these 4 games. 17 points per.
Their defense is pretty good.
Yeah, it is.
That defense is pretty good.
17 points per game.
So, that's why the Cowboys, they need to be well on offense, and they're not. I'm really concerned about Tony Pollard not playing because we know Zeke is not right and not healthy. You saw in the Saints game, that 10-yard run, his best run of the game, he just ran out of bounds.
Yeah,
he has no explosion.
He looked like a rec league player.
I was told today he'll play. They're not worried. They're not worried about him not playing.
Pollard,
Pollard.
Okay.
And why they signed the running back? Is that? I mean, like they?
No. I'm sure. I guess he will play, but is he going to be explosive, Tony, with that foot? Now him playing, or Zeke's been playing. Zeke hasn't been special.
Right.
So him being on the field and suiting up and playing doesn't mean the running game is going to be right.
No,
is all
not
I'm
necessarily.
saying.
I've been in this discussion. Can I go on a rant here because you're talking about my running back? People have misunderstood what Zeke has fought through in the last 3
didn't even know his
games.
name.
I mean, come on, man.
It's Dallas Zeke.
You didn't even know his name.
Just shut
Dallas
up.
Zeke, D.
Listen to me.
Jack and Zeke.
Listen to me. Zeke could have very easily have not played. Why is he on the field? He's toughing it out because Pollard can't pass protect. And Zeke can. And because Pollard doesn't run as good inside. And Zeke can. People need to get off of Zeke and appreciate how he is toughing it out for his football team. Can I get an amen from anybody on that?
We all respect Zeke. You're not the only guy that respects what Zeke has done, and I've said it and I've written it. Zeke is a warrior. He is tough as any player on this team, and he said it today. They're gonna have to drag me off this field. He's not coming out the field. He wants to play. Yes, they have him out there because of his ability to block in the passing game, because he's still strong on short yardage. But it's also coming at diminishing returns for him and the team. He should not be getting more carries than Pollard the last 3 weeks. But yet he has.
Did you just get sideline tickets to Ohio State for that rant?
That's my running back. Someday when you have a running back that wins you a national title, maybe you'll feel the same.
We had Ricky Williams. He got us the Heisman.
No, you've Vince Young.
Stop
the drama.
The bottom line is Zeke is hurt. Okay, he's not healthy.
He's toughing it out, though.
But that doesn't. Okay, fine. We're going to give him credit for toughing it out.
That's
not
Pollard?
helping the football team.
You want to see Pollard in pass protection, Chill?
I don't want to see Zeke getting more carries than Pollard.
Okay, what are you going to do in pass protection?
He can be out there on third down. I said I don't want to see. I said I don't want to see him get more carries than Pollard. Isn't that what I just said?
Yeah, but
and then he kept bringing up pass protection.
Right. I mean, you can't just run the ball to the outside every time. I mean, Pollard, loved the run, 58 yards. They needed it, big play. But I mean, he's not. He doesn't do as many things, I think, as Zeke. I'm fine with what they're doing. I'm fine with it. And
the Cowboys aren't fine, though. That's the issue.
Then drag him off the field. But they won't, and they don't because they need him.
All right, we got to go. Tomorrow, Jory Epstein is here. John Machota is here. But before we go, real quick, because you guys, Nick may be here again.
I might be here.
See.
So if this means that I don't have to pick the game,
you don't have to pick the game. Then
give me a.
All right, they win or lose.
I'm not allowed to pick games.
You've already said they're going to win.
You already said it.
Cowboys.
Not a lot of confidence. There's not a lot of confidence meter in that game. I'm not betting on it.
Oh, man.
We're not allowed to.
Hey, you're getting yeller in your old age, Chill. You're just getting yeller. All right, that's Media Mash.
Been a yeller.
Thanks to Chris Beam, rookie, for what he does all day.
Bless him.
For all the podcasts here on DallasCowboys.com and all over the platforms. Thanks for letting me talk Cowboys with you guys again. We'll see you soon. We're back tomorrow at 4 o'clock. Bye.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!